We're back. Alright, so we've pretty much covered the accidental black keys, the black magic pentatonics. Again, you just play the black keys. If you have the labels on, you play all the accidentals. People who know where the accidentals are, they know how to play in the key of G flat like that. Okay, it's a lot of fun. It's just a little hard to tell where you are. That's why I actually added the colors, to the to the keyboard down here, so that I could tell, because I thought, oh, I could tell where this is in grayscale. I could tell where these notes are. I couldn't tell where the group of 3 is and the group of 2 is on the guitar, and with 6 strings, so I decided to color the notes. So now we have another topic to talk about, okay? And this is, and this is caged and pentatonic scale chord shape navigation extra. We're going to use the cutout pen scale. This is kind of like a difficult subject. Let's see if we can get to it. Let's see if we can do it. Now, of course, we have our usual. We're going to have our usual 1 with a 6 minor, 4 with a 2 minor, and 5 with a 3 minor shape. If we're in caged, if we're on C with the, let's look at the C box there, or the G box. In C, we've got a C shape. We're going to go ahead in the word caged to the 6th, and we're going to get to the A shape. With a 4 and an E shape, we go ahead in the word caged. E goes to D in the word caged. We get a D shape second. It's relative. Now, why is that happening? Let's look over here. In the modal circle, we've got C in the C box. It's the easiest box to do. We've got C, D, E, G, and A. So when we take it backwards, we have C, A, G, E, D. So whenever you go forward in the word caged and take a minor, you're going to its 6th minor. So that would be down here. Now, I happen to have shown also the C half diminished shape, the buddies. The buddies we just treat as 1 letter. Okay, so here, E and E here, we're going backwards, just treat it as 1 letter. It still spells cage. C, A, G, E, D. And it starts again. Both these are shown just to show that it goes in a circle. So anytime you go forward 1 letter in the word caged, you're going to its relative 6th. C goes to A. So it's root, 2 minor, 3 minor, 4 major, 5 major, 6 minor. Okay, but now in chord shape navigation, we also have the 4ths. When you go ahead to a 4th, okay, in a pentatonic, you're going to go ahead, you're going to skip 1. So C, skip A to G. The 4th of C, let's see, we're doing this backwards now, I guess. Hang on. Sorry, we're looking at the wrong one. That's for cage, so that goes in 5ths. Cage goes in 5ths, pentatonic goes in 4ths. So if we skip a letter, remember this is all 1 C here, so we go C, skip A to a G, we're going to its 5th. C, skip D to an E shape, and both these E's are the same, it's just E shape. That's pentatonic now, C, D, E. So pentatonic and skip a letter, we're going to its 4th. Okay, so as it turns out, we have the 4th rule, the 5th rule, and then we have their relative minors, but it's easier to just count the shapes as we go along, and that's the navigation I'm talking about. Okay, so in the key of C, it's easy because we have C, then we have a D minor shaped D minor, then we have an E minor shaped D minor, just play E minor, then we have barred for an F, E shaped within the cage, the fourth, the fifth is going to be G shaped, and the sixth is going to be our A minor. Those are our familiar chords that we use. Action fingers, D minor, action fingers E minor. Well, one of them is capo finger. Okay, and action fingers for the F is bar and an E shape. For the G, action fingers is just, again, we don't talk about action fingers that much if we're using open strings. And then A minor, action fingers. 3 action fingers right there. And then what, the half diminished one, we're going to do something like 4, 7, 2, and then 6. Okay, something like that. Remember, with the half diminished, it's always easier to use its 7th, which is the 6th of the root, because then you have that on one of the strings. Otherwise, there's a string that you'd have to skip, and that's not a bad idea either. We'll find when we're doing half shapes, we skip string shapes all the time. We'll get to that. So there's no cutout scale on the C box. Good thing I wrote these things. So here's your C scale: 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5. C string shape 3, 4, 5. G string shape 6, 7, root. D string shape right here 2, 3, 4. A string shape 5, 6. E string shape 7, root 2. These are open now. 7, root 2. Okay. And 3, 4, 5. Okay. That's the C box. The C box is the easy box. Now let's move ahead. We're not going to go to the A box necessarily because it would be right here, but we're in this particular drawing, I've got the E box next. So this is the root, the key of E, or the capo on root any key. So you see how the key of E, we have the root, we have the capo on the root of any key. Now I happen to have this on E here. I'd really rather do it up here on C or down here. So the E shape, I usually use open because I'm down C tuned. Here's an E shaped D, here's an E shaped D, and here's an E shaped C down there. Okay, so I have an E shaped C. Now I guess we're going to have to use the key of F here. So here's your E shaped E. I'm going to go up 1/2 step, and we're not going to put a capo on that E, F. First of all, because it's difficult to put a capo on the first fret, and then we're going to have our E box 7 root 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I was doing a C Locrian there, my bad. 7 root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 root 2. There's our Locrian F scale. I was doing a Locrian C scale or something like that. I was doing a Phrygian. Okay, we're back. We'll keep going with the lesson. So it gets interesting when we get to the other cages. This is key of E or capo on root of any key. So the capo would be here, or it's the key of E, or in my case, we're looking at the key of F. Now before I put the capo on, I have to explain that these sunken notes, if you put the capo on the key of A or E, there's sunken notes in the key of D. We have sunken notes. Here's capo on the second of any key. Over here we have these sunken notes you can't play. G, same thing, we have one sunken note there. D, we have two sunken notes there. A, we have three sunken notes there. And E, we have four sunken notes. We should have four sunken notes on the key of E. I don't know. That's right. These are supposed to be these are supposed to be like this. 6, 7, and 3 right here. Okay. So these are supposed to be blackened like that. I don't know if I can do that in here from view. Okay, so that might have been throwing us off. So these are sunken notes. But if we don't put the capo, say root's going to be F. I said any key F. Okay, so here's where your fret nut is. Here's where F is. Here's E. Then these notes, if we have a fret nut there, okay, if we put the capo here on the F, then we can't play these guys because they're behind the capo. Alright, but where your fret nut is, where the E is there, we can play them. I just prefer not to have it there because it gets in the way, because I want to show you how the shapes work. So here's the E-shaped F. Then we go to a G minor shaped second minor now because we're going up a pentatonic scale. Okay, so what we have here is E, right here, E, G, A, C, D, E. E, G, A, C, D, E. It's a pentatonic scale starting from the E. So it's like the second inversion. Here's pentatonic scale root. Here's first inversion. Here's second inversion. Here's third inversion. And here's fourth inversion. That's all the cage system is inversions of a pentatonic scale as you go, in that particular case, down the neck. In the case of going up the neck, it would be caged and then going to different inversions there backwards. We don't want to try to play that. So here we got E to G. This is pentatonic. That G minor shape is going to be what? It's a G minor shaped. In the key of F, it's going to be G minor. So F is F major 1, G minor, A minor, B flat, C shaped 5th, C 5th, D minor, okay. Then we have E half diminished or E half diminished, because whether it's diminished or half diminished depends on what the 7th is doing. So we talk about half diminished to stay in the mode, and then F major 7th. So it's really F major 7th, G minor major 7th, A minor major 7th, B flat major 7th, C 7, D minor major 7th, E half diminished, and root